freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome, one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. Always has been, is now, always will be, until we decide to end it. And on this program, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Thank you for joining us today. We are live on limited platforms for the third week in a row. We've started with technical difficulties, and this week has been the roughest of all. We're starting almost a full half an hour late. We are broadcasting on What on Earth is Happening on, looks like, Facebook, Twitter, and possibly One Great Work Network and YouTube. So I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I have to let people know that, there's problems going on. I have to move to some better workflows and ways of doing things, and most of all, I really need some assistance here, especially after I move and reset up my network. I really need some in-house assistance. And I deserve that. And I'm going to talk about it briefly once we get into the show here today. I have a very special guest coming up from One Great Work Network, Catherine Waters, content creator extraordinaire, who's been is one of the OGs in all of this and has been involved in this work forever. We're going to be interviewing her as a content creator and getting some of her insight that's coming up on the show today. Let me jump over to my slides and see how well this is working today. Give me a moment. All right. Great. At least that seems to be working well. Again, today we got off to a rocky start because of computer crashes. I'm using an early 2018 or mid 2018 model desktop computer, and that's starting to get long in the tooth already. Again, in the past, I think computers would give you a decent 6, 7, maybe even 8 years. Now, if you get 4 or 5, you're lucky. And this machine is now going on 5 years old, and I think it's time to retire it, or to at least move it to a different task. And I'm just going to have to get a real powerhouse in here, and with all of the cutting into resources that have been done as a result of trying to fight to stay in the actual physical location where I'm at and then losing, it was brutal. This last year has been brutal, and I haven't even really made public truly what went on. And maybe I'll even do that today. I don't know. But let's jump in. This is show number 262. Today is January 22nd, 2023. And this show is a tapestry of information. So if you're not if you're a new listener, you shouldn't start here. I'm going to say this every single week at the at the risk of belaboring it and just, acting as a complete broken record of repetition. I'm going to say it every single week. You should listen to this podcast series starting from number 1 in order and not skip around, because if you try to start listening now like a jackass, and I'm not trying to frighten all new people away. I'm saying listen to this episode after you've listened to the previous 261 episodes. After you've listened and watched those episodes, that's when you're ready to hear what's being said today. You don't have a frame of reference, even if you think you do. No, you're not that intelligent. No, you don't just get it like that. You need the prerequisite knowledge that's contained in the earlier episodes. Get over yourself and your fucking ego. You need the prerequisite knowledge. You cannot truly understand it from this place. You got to go back to number 1. You can't, you're not that good that you can skip to the end chapter of every book and know what's instantly going on, especially the most complicated textbook. Get the fuck over yourself and your ego. You need to go back to episode number 1 if you're a new listener and start from there. Then you'll build the prerequisite knowledge to truly understand some of the context of what we're talking about in the later episodes. Especially the anger that we may come at people with for not doing anything even after having listened to all previous episodes, and say you understand, or say you want freedom, or say you want to be somehow involved, and you're sitting on your ass with your thumb up it. That's what most people are doing, folks, sadly. Unfortunately, that's what most people are doing. Sitting there with their thumb up their ass doing nothing. And that's a big part of what the show is going to be about. It's going to be about, what are you doing? Here's people who are an example of what needs to be done. What the hell are you doing? Okay, so my special guest, Kat Waters, has she has an attitude like mine about this. She's a little upset, just like I am, and rightfully and justifiably so, for having done it for as long as she's been doing it. With his little assistance and his little overall, in the overall wider sense of the movement, the little assistance that we all get. The piss poor amount of actual help and actual support and actual doing the thing that we've been explaining to people that you got to do, which is lend your voice to the truth and speak out courageously, not be an anonymous fucking coward. You understand what we're saying? Most people are anonymous fucking cowards. And that's the problem of why we're still enslaved. So let's move forward. We're on a new show format. 2 hours on a 6-month schedule from January through June. My band.video channel is finally up. It is in the channel listing, and I have one video up there. I uploaded the documentary, the natural law documentary, Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is the cover of the documentary. And I think it's probably the most important documentary film ever created in human history. Let me just say it like that. And no, I'm not tooting my own horn. And no, I'm not just proud of myself, proud of the people that helped work on it. No, it's actually the most important documentary film that has ever been created in human history. Let me just put it like that, unequivocally, factually stated, that if humanity does not understand what is contained in this documentary, it doesn't really have a true chance for survival. That is how important the information in the documentary Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law actually is. So it's now up on band.video, and I want to tell everybody, push people to that video. Let's let that video be the place people go and watch it. Go to my channel on band.video, band.video/channel/Mark-Passio. I know it's a complicated URL. You can click on me in the channel listing of band.video. And the first video, again, is my documentary. Go and watch it and send other people to it, because it's the most important documentary ever made in the history of our species. And again, if the information in that documentary is not fully and completely understood, humanity has no chance to free itself. Zero. That is how important and factual the information is. And if you don't think so, you're just fucking wrong. That's all it comes down to. I'm tired of assholes telling me they know what's going on. You haven't studied it to the level that I have. Believe me, you haven't. You haven't totally sacrificed every other single aspect of your life and completely sacrificed it to fully take in the total systems level dynamics of what is required in knowledge to fully grasp what the real problem and the real solution is. And there's only one solution, as I'm going to talk about when it comes to my presentation coming up early next month in Anarchapulco. So visit my band.video channel. The How to Become the True Media seminar is going to be coming at us in July of this year. This is one of the things people have to learn to get up off their lazy asses and build some skills. This is the problem, is we're a bunch of lazy toddlers fumbling around, stumbling around, all in a lazy toddler mindset, a 2-year-old, 3-year-old mindset of, I don't need any skills to actually free humanity. I can just sit here and watch stuff. I can just sit here and hope. I can just sit here and pray. I can just sit here and meditate. The people, I'm telling you, the thought processes of people, they sound like such fucking moron jackasses that it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. It's unfathomable. And I'm fired up for a number of reasons. You don't know the week that I've had. You don't know all I've done. I tried to get to slides every day, to making slides. I have 2 seminars coming up this year. I'm going to be speaking at Seed 5, which I'll talk about probably next week. And all of the work that lies ahead for me, plus a physical move to another home, which isn't even set up yet. You know, I have to go do all the legwork for that and get a mortgage loan and go move all my stuff and reset my whole network up. You don't think that's stressful enough? I have 3 major presentations, 2 seminars, and a conference presentation. And I haven't been able to get to one slide. I have some outlines drawn up, but I haven't been able to get to creating a slide yet because all I'm doing is putting out technical fires all day. And I've been begging people to come for assistance in helping me here in office. And I've been asking that for 10 years, and not one, I'm not going to say not one, a couple of people showed up and either looked at the operation and ran in the other direction and said, fuck you. I can't be bothered. This is way too out of my league, and I can't be bothered to deal with the aggravation that you deal with on a daily basis. And secondly, then people have showed up, and unfortunately, they simply just haven't really had the skill set. You know, and I'll still help people. I'll put them onto some other things, delegate some other things, but it's like, I need a really, truly competent tech person in here so I can just do the creative work that I need to do and not deal with putting out tech fires all day. You know, if I need to print a DVD cover for an order that came in and my printer isn't working for whatever fucking reason, I don't want to come off the creative work that I'm trying to do to make slides and to educate people to go fuck with a printer for 6 hours. I need somebody here to put those tech fires out while I work, not remotely. Do you understand, morons? Do you understand, morons? I don't need remote help. I need a fucking person in here, helping, side by side, working with me, one-on-one, in fucking person here. Do you grasp that, morons? I don't want to say it again. I should have this already. I shouldn't have to fucking ask like this. I should have this already. I've been asking for 10 fucking years. And all you selfish fucks do is ask for more content. Go fuck yourself. You go make more content, fuckhead. fucking losers. You go make more. Don't tell me to do fucking anything. I've done more than what people will do in 1 billion fucking lifetimes, motherfucker. 1 billion fucking lifetimes. And I'm going to rant today. If you don't like it, shut it the fuck off. Because you people are the fucking problem. You're the problem, sitting with your thumb up your ass, doing nothing like a loser that you are. Then I got other fucking morons. Why don't you turn on comments on YouTube? Because you're a fucking moron and I don't want your fucking ill-informed, unread opinion, jerk off. That's why. Because you would pollute my work instead of contribute to it because you have a shit for brains mind. Do you get it? That's why I don't want your fucking sewage shit drivel on my fucking channel. I'm not interested in your garbage thoughts because you have a garbage mind, loser. That's the answer. Plus, it's mine. It belongs to me. I'll do what I want with it. Fuck off. And then people go, why do you even respond to these people? Because this is the bulk of humanity. The other assholes who say that. You don't understand. This is the bulk of loserdom humanity. That we are chained to. We are chained by. You don't get that yet. That's the dynamic, the very dynamic in consciousness that needs to be changed. That's the problem. How to Become the True Media coming up this July 10th to December 11th, total of 23 classes. It's a technological seminar to get you up off your lazy ass and teach you what you need to do to reach people on the medium that we call the internet, which, in case you haven't noticed, is how modern information is disseminated. In case you're a tech fucking moron. You're a tech illiterate moron. You know? And that's the problem, is we have a bunch of tech illiterate morons. You're illiterate in the modern age. That's what people don't understand. You're not a literate human being. You're tech illiterate. Literacy is no longer reading and writing, folks. Literacy is literacy with technology. In case you haven't figured that out, in case you're still that fucking dumb, modern literacy is not being able to read and write with a pen and paper. If you think that that's the case, you're so fucking delusional. You have the delusion of a fucking child still in the fucking cradle. That is how off in dreamland you are. If you don't understand, modern literacy means you know what you're doing with a computer and you could publish and reach people on the internet, not just through social media. But you can actually formalize your thoughts in the ways that you want, whether in video, in audio, in writing, etc. And you could publish to a platform that ultimately you're largely in charge of. You know how to create that space and you know how to publish on that space. And that's the problem, is that most fucking loser morons today don't. And I don't give a fuck if it insults you. Don't take the fucking course. I don't need you to take anything, loser. If you want to remain a fucking loser, don't take anything. Sit on your lazy ass with your thumb up it. Wiggle it the fuck around and sit there and do nothing but complain and act like you're actually concerned about freedom, because you're not. You're a fucking liar. But if you want to stop being a fucking loser and you want to get your fucking skills underneath you so you could actually reach other people's fucking minds and not be a loser sitting on their fucking couch with their thumb up their ass, then you might want to look into the How to Become the True Media seminar. If that offends you, go fuck yourself. Okay? I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to build fucking soldiers in the war that we're in. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to build strong, competent fucking soldiers who know what the fuck they're doing and have skill sets under their belt. I don't need fucking dross losers. Because that's what most of you are. You're loser dross. Go look up the fucking word. I'm not going to tell you what it means again. Go look it up. It's in the former fucking podcast, or go look it up yourself somewhere else. But that's what you are. Most of the people out there listening are loser dross. Okay? If you don't want to be loser dross, join How to Become the True Media seminar this year and actually build up some fucking skill sets like a competent fucking adult instead of remaining loser dross. Watch the One Great Work Network, Ending Slavery One Mind at a Time at onegreatworknetwork.com. 72 fantastic content creators that are not loser dross, that are actually people who are doing something. They're not sitting on their ass with their thumbs up it. They're actually engaged in the battle. They're the men and women in the arena. They're the soldiers that we need. Unlike most of you listening out there, most of you watching out there, you're not soldiers, you're dumb, stumbling toddlers. And that's the point. We don't need dumb, stumbling toddlers with no skills. We need active human warriors is what we need. And that's the problem, is we don't have them and the Satanists do. And that's why they're kicking our motherfucking ass all up and down the joint. And if you don't think that that's true, again, you're fucking delusional. Look, one thing that did go really well, and this is part of the problem, folks, and look, I'll do an extra whole hour with Kat and add that as an addendum in the podcast if we need to. I need to talk about what is going on here at What on Earth is Happening as well. And here's part of the problem, folks. We need better technology, because as this operation ramps up, I can't keep using 5-year-old computers. I got to swap out computers every 3-4 years tops. And one of the computers that we need to roll out for some technical reasons was we needed a Mac Studio to replace the Windows machine that we're using for a video storage and streaming server. I am very pleased to say we raised the money for that Mac Studio in 10 days. Now, apparently, this is what most people want to do. They'd rather contribute money than stop being an anonymous coward. See, they're okay with giving of resources, but God forbid if you ask them to contribute their voice and put their face on something. You see, and I'm not complaining. Folks, I'm thanking you from the bottom of my heart, because you raised the money for us to get a Mac Studio in-house here at my home office, at the headquarters of What on Earth is Happening, to act as a video streaming server and a storage for videos. A storage server for videos. And let me tell you this. You raise that money in 10 days, and the computer is ordered. It will be here in a couple weeks. I ordered a custom configuration that is actually even a little bit better than the one that I showed on the page, and put some of my money into that as well. So I was even able to get a better configuration than what I listed, believe it or not. So this is great news. And the computer will be here in a few weeks, probably sometime in mid-February, hopefully early February, but definitely by mid-February. And I will be setting it up to replace the existing server that we're running now. That being said, I still probably need 2 to 3 other computers. Definitely 2. The third one I might be able to get away with continuing to use for a little while, but I need absolutely 2 other computers. The computer I'm talking to you right now on, it crashed 3 times upon attempting to start this broadcast. And guess what, folks? I'm not afraid to air out dirty laundry and tell you when things go bad, because here's what it means. It means I'm pushing what I'm doing to my limit, and now I'm hitting a technical limitation, a technical wall, in the form of a very aging computer by today's standards. Should this computer last 3, 4, 5 more years? Yeah, it should. But guess what? They don't make them like they used to, as that old saying goes, and I'm going to have to rotate my technology cycle more frequently. I don't want to have to do that, but it's unfortunately just the way that it is. This is the problem with everybody, folks. In their mind, they keep saying, I don't want it to work that way. And that doesn't mean it's not going to work that way, just because you don't want it to work that way. That doesn't mean we can't change things, but some things are just the way that they are. Some things can be changed. This is what people need to ask for, the discernment to know the difference of what can we change by an act of our will and what is just the way that it is. It's the nature of the thing, it's the nature of the item, and it can't really be changed. So, it's not up to me how a particular computer manufacturer, the actual quality that they put into the whole manufacturing process and the components, and when those start to age, when those start to fail. I don't know why my show document on the software I'm using that I've been using for years to stream the show, when I hit start, throws a kernel panic on my machine? I don't know. Who knows? That could be a million different things in hardware and software. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a reverse engineer. I'm not going to reverse the whole process in some disassembler and then go track down the machine code that tells me exactly why a kernel panic got thrown. I don't have time for that anyway, even if I did know how to do it. The point is, at some point, you just accept your machine's getting too old and you got to upgrade it. That's it. And then you do it. You don't sit around with your thumb up your ass saying, oh, I wish I had an upgraded computer. You just go out and raise the resources and you do it. This is where I'm at with a few systems that I'm unfortunately still working on. The machine I'm speaking to you on, it needs to be upgraded to a high-end Mac Studio. I need to go to a maxed out Mac Studio at the very least, or I have to get a new Mac Pro when they come out with the Apple Silicon Series chips. So if an M2 Ultra Mac Pro comes out, I might look at something like that, but I absolutely at least got to go with an M1 Ultra, or when they come out, an M2 Ultra Mac Studio. And it's got to be a high-end configuration. It can't be a baseline model. So again, I went with a Mac Studio M1 Ultra with 128 gigabytes of RAM and a 2 terabyte solid state drive for the new server that we needed. I'm going to require something similar along those lines for myself to continue to do this show, if we don't want to just make this a pre-recorded podcast series where I just record it and then we release it later and we don't go live. Again, I was able to at least successfully, it looks like, go live on a few limited platforms. However, one of the other new computers that I'm going to require this year is a new laptop. I'm working on now what I would consider beginning to age Intel series laptop, and I'm going to need an Apple Silicon laptop for the presentations that I have coming up later this year. So the M2 series laptops just came out, and I want to show you once again in What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. Right here, you can click technology donations in the gift categories, or if you go to the categories page, which is depicted here, you can see technology donations. And what this is an ability to crowdsource expensive items that we require for What on Earth is Happening efforts. So, What on Earth is Happening, donation gifts, crowdsource funding. Many hands make light work. The technology donation section of What on Earth is Happening donation gifts makes it possible for supporters of What on Earth is Happening to help fund the purchase of technology items required for both What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network. Specifically, items considered too expensive for a single individual to donate via our Amazon technology wish list. So, sorry, I wanted to step out of the presentation there. I hit the wrong button. I want to briefly show you what this looks like live, in live time. So, let me go to donation gifts. So this is the web page in real time. I'm going to click categories here. And then at the very top of the categories page, you'll see technology donations. If you click this, again, I want to say thank you to everybody who donated for the Mac Studio. You're really helping us out. It'll be a much smoother experience for us. You'll see here that there's a donation for a MacBook Pro, and then the title is cut off. But here it is right here. I'll make this larger. There we go. It's a donation toward a MacBook Pro for Mark Passio's presentation laptop. This will be the laptop that I will personally present on during the course of at least the next year, obviously. 2023, again, I have 3 major presentations. 2 of them are definitely in person. 2 of them are all-day seminars. I've told you about one of them already. I have not told you the big news about the other seminar. I'm going to wait a little bit before I make another huge announcement for this year to let you know some developments that are going on behind the scenes and about another huge in-person event coming up that I'll just hint at it. It will be in person, it will be all day, and it will be on natural law. It will be natural law Revealed and Revisited. It's going to be a revisited natural law presentation that goes more in depth and clarifies some people's questions about natural law. And it's going to really act as an addendum and a clarification as an all-day seminar to the existing natural law seminar. So it's going to be called, the actual working title is The Secret of Secrets, Natural Law Revealed and Revisited. So that's coming up in 2023, and it's going to be part of a huge announcement that I'm going to make. But I'm going to wait until we do some more legwork to definitely start securing the venue and the logistics until I announce that. But for that all-day seminar and my all-day seminar entitled Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism, which we do know is going to take place in Hightstown, New Jersey. We are pretty locked in to that general vicinity, but we don't have a locked-in venue as of yet. Stay tuned for that announcement, but I'll be talking about that presentation in a moment. For these live in-person all-day seminars, I am going to require a better laptop than what I'm working on right now, and this is the one that I'm choosing. It's a MacBook Pro M2 series, so Apple Silicon M2. And you see here that on the page you can make a donation ranging from $50 to $500, and anything that you donate from this page will go directly to the purchase of a new MacBook Pro that will act as my own presentation laptop for the in-person seminars that I have coming up this year, and probably any in-person events I have coming up in the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully. So that being said, I put also a small progress bar. This is not updated in real time. I will generally update this once a day. At the end of the day, I'll tabulate any donations that came in for that day, and I do a manual update on this bar. I don't have it, automated through programming to the point where I can just have that auto-populate the figure. Maybe some programmer can help me out doing that, but as of right now, it's a manual process. So at the end of each day, I generally update that bar to show people what we've raised, okay, to date. Right now, we have 0 in for the MacBook Pro because I'm just announcing it, but, we got all of the donations raised and the computer ordered in 10 days. Thank you to everyone for contributing through your resources, okay? So, that being said, I'll jump back over to my slides. Kat, I know you're standing by on the Telegram call-in room. Thank you for being patient with me. I'm going to wrap up. I have a few other quick announcements. I'll be interviewed by Foster Gamble on February 4th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I believe that is, 12, 1, 2 p.m., or what is it, 2 p.m.? Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern time, February 4th. Foster Gamble is known for the great documentary Thrive, What on Earth Will It Take? And the addendum, second Thrive documentary, This Is What It Takes. Both of them are fantastic documentaries with powerful information. He did a phenomenal job with both of those documentaries and with the Thrive movement in general. Very much looking forward to being interviewed by Foster Gamble, coming up on his Worldview Pioneer series. The title of the show, Truth and Natural Law, Show the Way Out. So again, that's coming up February 4th. That's Saturday, February 4th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Next week on What on Earth is Happening, I will be interviewing Max Egan of the Crow House, and we'll be talking about Max's live in-person appearance at Anarchapulco 2023 Resist. So coming up next week, the great Max Egan on What on Earth is Happening. Really looking forward to speaking with Max next week. And then I believe the week after that, I'll be bringing on, more likely than not, Will Keller. We're going to be doing a good interview series this season in What on Earth is Happening. Speaking of Anarchapulco, I'll be a featured speaker virtually. I will not be there in person, but I will be sending them a video. I have sent them a video. They will be playing it. They informed me on February 6th, which is the first day of the event. I told them that they can feel free to repeat it whenever they want during the event, but it will definitely be played in their live stream on February 6th, 2023. So do look for that. Join up with Anarchapulco for their streaming. Anarchapulco.com. My presentation is entitled Anarchy and the Occult Part 3, adding a third addendum onto the Anarchy and the Occult series. I go in very hard on the anarchists, folks. Folks, when people know more, I believe that they should be held to a higher moral standard and a higher standard of activity and behavior and contribution to the effort. And when I see that not really being done, and when I see people just going off on tangents when it comes to what the real solution is, and when they're just going off on tangents of behavior and effort that aren't going to really ultimately long-term lead to the solution, I went in very hard on them in this presentation, I have to say. Okay? To the point where we've even introduced a new character into the What on Earth is Happening character, the pantheon of characters. Okay? You know, we got Bobo the Clown, right? We have the Vomit Puppet, right? And now we have a new character that's being debuted at Anarchapulco 2023 Resist. Had to do it. He's a very cute character, but he's also a very scathing and insulting character if you understand what the character represents, which I make abundantly clear in my presentation. Anarchy and the Occult Part 3, the only solution to slavery. Yes, there's only one. Everybody's saying there's nothing new, there's nothing new. What are you saying that's new? Jackass, jerk-off, moron, who hasn't been listening, who thinks that you know what I've been saying, but you're a jackass who hasn't listened from episode 1. There's only one solution to slavery, and there's nothing new under the sun. It will never change. It will never be anything different. If you've heard the teachings of What on Earth is Happening, and you've gone into some of the resources that I've pointed people toward, you don't need to ask if there's anything new. You know it's all been said. And if you think that's an arrogant statement, go fuck yourself. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because I'm not talking about knowing everything in the universe. I'm talking about everything we need to know to end slavery on this planet. In the here and now. Not in some dreamland, not in some fantasy fucking world, not in the totality of the mind of God. If that's what you're aspiring to, go off in some trance and go do that, and go dwell in some fucking mental landscape that you want to live in instead of living in the real world of the here and now. This is the problem. In the here and now, slavery is still taking place. In the here and now, ignorance is still taking place that is contributing to the slavery and emboldening it and enacting it. And what most people are in this whole movement are as anonymous cowards who don't know what the solution really is. They don't agree. They think somehow I'm incorrect. No, I've been giving you the answer since day one, and you'll find that out. Whether you find that out in a body or whether you find that out when you're no longer in a body, everyone's going to find that out. I'll be vindicated. I will be ultimately proven to be correct. And I'm not saying that because I have a big ego. I'm saying that because I understand the trivium process and most of the losers out there don't. So they can't check their assessments and assertions against the trivium, whereas I do know how to use it effectively, efficiently, and correctly, and I have checked what I say that I've come to understand, what I've come to know. Because as I was talking with Kat pre-interview here today, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not someone snatching at the wind for solutions. I'm a systems analyst. Let me say that again, what Mark Passio is and does. I'm a systems level analyst. So if you don't know what that job description is or what it entails, go look it the fuck up and you'll understand what I really do. I'm like an actuary for what's really going on this planet. I'm a high level systems analyst. where I'm taking in all of the data that needs to be taken in from an unimaginably vast, eclectic variety of sources that most people haven't looked into for a second of their lives. And I'm aggregating all of that, and I'm sifting through it continually until I actually come to a correct, true, and accurate understanding of what it all means. And then I'm proposing the solution. I'm seeing the problem clearly, and I'm coming very clearly and accurately to what the real solution is, and recognizing that that solution is absolute. It is singular and absolute, just as the truth is singular and absolute. The truth is singular and absolute, and that is humanity's greatest fear. It is cause for anxiety's greatest. It is cause for humanity's greatest anxieties about itself. The biggest internal anxieties that humanity, that individuals within humanity ever really truly have, is that the truth is completely singular and absolute. And that is why the ego wants to invent things reasons why it is not. There is no my truth. There is no your truth. There is the truth. The truth is singular. The truth is absolute. The solution is part of the truth. The solution is to slavery is singular and it is absolute. If you don't understand that, you haven't learned enough. You haven't figured it out yet. And you're incorrect. And you need to do the work through the trivium and through the eclectic gathering of information that constitutes the grammar stage of the trivium process. And you need to gather that data and go through it effectively, weeding out logical inconsistencies and coming to an accurate understanding of what it means. Then you'll see the solution. And you'll see that if you're the one sitting on your ass with your thumb up your ass, you'll realize you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And when I say that, I mean, do you actually understand the physical steps in skill sets that are required to actually reach a large audience online of people where the information is formalized and immortalized, and then you can spread it to other people in a wide fashion. People are not hearing this. They're not hearing it. They don't understand it. They barely understand what I'm saying. Formalize and immortalize. That means you create something that has a structure for your material. Then you immortalize it by putting it on the internet in a place where someone can't just hit a switch and take it down. You upload it someplace where it's going to reside permanently, and you can link to it and send people links to it, or embed it in your page from a place where it will not get censored. You formalize and you immortalize. And the problem is, most people don't have the technological skill sets to do it. And I talk about that in this presentation. This is what it's largely about. It's about that the solution is spiritual. It's a spiritual solution to learn what the fact of the matter of the truth about the human condition is and speak out about it. That's a spiritual solution. But there is a technological component to the only spiritual solution. And that is learning how to build up your skill sets to speak to people through the medium called the internet in a formalized and immortalized way. And this is the problem, is that hardly anybody is doing that, largely because they're ignorant of the technical skills that are required to do it. And two, because in addition to that, the overwhelming vast majority of them are anonymous cowards and don't want to do that. They don't want to lend their voice to the chorus of truth. They want to remain anonymous cowards. They want to say, that's somebody else's job to speak out. That's not my job. And this is the problem. This is a moral dilemma of human slavery is only ever solved without bloodshed. Yeah, it can be solved through bloodshed, but it's only ever solved without bloodshed once there is enough speech out into the world where the majority of people are saying, We will not accept this immoral condition, and we have all put our voice out into the universe. We have put our voice out into the universe, and we have put our foot down as a result of putting our voice out. Have we done that? No, we've tacitly accepted what's going on. This is my title card for my Anarchy in the Occult Part 3 presentation, The Only Solution to Slavery. It's about seeing another world, envisioning an entirely different reality, and taking our part in it through action. And that's the problem. We haven't. We're still staying in the head cage. We're still staying in the covert prison because we haven't learned the courage to speak out. We haven't learned the tech skill set that's required to truly speak out in a wide way. And this is the problem. People believe that we can stay as a population, as illiterate as we are, when it comes to understanding any aspect of technology. And the ability of sending our voice widely and freely to tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people. People believe we can remain willfully ignorant of that and not exercising the willpower to actually do that, and simultaneously we can be victorious. That is not possible. That cannot be done simultaneously. You cannot stay in a state of illiteracy like that, and you cannot stay in a state of inaction like that and actually win. What that will drive to us is the suffering that's going to be entailed in a physical confrontation that will be coming, that we're also not going to be in a very good position, which human beings will probably still be able to win that conflict, but it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory. It's going to involve so much bloodshed and so much trauma that we're not solving anything by doing that, ultimately, long term. Would we be justified in doing that? Absolutely we would. We'd be justified in doing that right now. If we took up arms immediately, it would be a 100% just war. However, it would be a horrifically bloody and costly event, which I don't want to see have to happen. I want this to be done the right way, through consciousness expansion. And the only way that can happen is if people learn the truth and then speak the truth to others. And again, to all the loser morons out there who can't comprehend the English language, I am not saying I want a know-nothing fucking idiot who doesn't understand what's really going on to just spout whatever verbal diarrhea they want to spout in content, through content creation. That's not what I've ever said, dunce, dumbass. I've said I want people who already understand the material, who already understand objective morality, who already understand natural law, to speak out on it. And people, through my work, constantly tell me, thank you so much for what you did. It changed my life. Well, what the fuck are you doing? Why don't you go out and change somebody else's? Why don't you go out and stop being an anonymous coward? I don't need thanks and praise. In case you haven't figured it out, I don't give a fuck about having friends. I don't have any fucking friends, hardly. I'm not interested in friends. I'm not interested in popularity. I'm not interested in making money. You want to thank me? You want to pay it back to me? Go out and teach other fucking people, lazy fuck. That's all I require. I don't require any praise or even money. I need people to go out and fulfill the requirement for freedom, which is lending your voice to it. It won't defend itself. Freedom and truth do not defend themselves. They are defended through our voice. And all you got to do again is ask yourself the question, how much of the lie is spoken every day to people's minds versus how much of the truth is spoken every day to people's minds? That's all, the only dynamic you need to understand. And if you're not contributing to the positive aspect of that dynamic, you're part of the problem. The end. Coming up later this year, and I'm, honestly, I have to say location to be determined and even date to be determined. It may get pushed back into October or later. I don't know. With the way things are going right now and the tiny bit of help that I have and the amount of work that lies ahead for me this year, I don't want to say anything is going to be set in stone. But I will be delivering Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult, origins of Nazism and communism sometime this year. With everything that's going on, I'm going to say more likely than not, this will be delivered probably in October of 2023 and probably in Hightstown, New Jersey, which is central New Jersey, just outside of Trenton. So look for that coming up in the fall of 2023. As a matter of fact, I really should just change this. I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it another time, but next week this will say fall 2020, Hightstown, New Jersey, fall 2023. That's what it really should say on this slide. I didn't get a chance to update it from last week. But that is when Two Masks, Same Face will be being delivered here in this region of the country. Stay tuned again for another big announcement about another all-day seminar on natural law called The Secret of Secrets that I'll also be delivering this year. Don't Tread on Philly meetup happens the second Wednesday of every month. Second Wednesday happy hour at The Dive on the second floor, 947 East Passio Avenue in South Philadelphia. We call this a social meetup for people concerned about the loss of freedom. For more information, visit don'ttreadonphilly.com, and hopefully we'll see a lot of people there every second Wednesday. The meetups there so far have been jumping. That's all I have to say. It's been a fantastic meetup. Thank you to everybody who's been showing up. We hope that you continue to show up, socialize, and network amongst like minds. It's been a really awesome meetup. Thank you to everybody involved and for everybody showing up and making that event a big success. Let's keep that energy going. The What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is still ongoing. For more information, visit whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS. I told people if we don't get 5 What on Earth is Happening IPFS nodes up the way that I want them to go up by the end of this year, I will not come back on the air next year. Sorry that I have to make an ultimatum like an asshole like that, but oh well. If the only thing that I can tell people is I will take something away from the effort that I'm putting out because somebody else will not return effort, then that's how it'll have to be. But either 5 IPFS nodes go up live by the end of this year the way I want them online, on my terms. If they don't go up by the end of this year, I take a hiatus until 5 nodes are live next year. So keep that in mind. And if people can't be bothered to get a sub $1,000 computer and put it in their home to make my information permanently censorship proof, and you say you care about my work, you care about me, you care about the great work, you care about ending slavery, I say you're a fucking liar. Buy the bandwidth. Here's the thing. People go, oh, but I don't have that much bandwidth. It's available unto you in most places in this country. Buy it. Suffer. Take the hit on your finances. Buy less that month. Go out less that over the next several months. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. I'm looking you square in the eyes and say, take the hit. Suffer in the short term to do something that is going to contribute in some way. This is what I'm asking. I feel perfectly justified for asking that and perfectly justified for saying if people can't be bothered to do that, I can't be bothered to do all of the fucking tech hassle that it is to set this show up each year and actually run it. So I'll go into an extended hiatus in January for as long as it takes until the 5 nodes I want go up, and maybe we'll do this every year. 5 more nodes don't go up every year. What on Earth is Happening doesn't come back in January. Oh, fucking well. It's no skin off my back. I've done everything that is expected of me, and I've said everything that needs to be said. If I shut my fucking mouth and never said another word for the rest of my life, I'd still have done more than just about every person on this planet would do in 10,000 lifetimes combined. Okay? So everybody can shut the fuck up about me not doing enough and me needing to do more. Go fuck yourself, you do more, loser. That's the answer. I don't want your fucking criticism, skank. How about that? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. You want to see rage? Well, I'll show you fucking rage. Don't tell me about what my work is to do. You don't know anything about what I do, loser. Nothing. You haven't done it a day in your fucking lazy loser fucking life. Jerk off. That's the whole fucking problem, is people don't know what the fuck I do. They have no clue what I do on a daily basis. Fucking zero. And then they want to make complaints that I'm not doing enough. Why isn't there a whole lot of new material? Because all the fucking material's already spoken in the podcast, dunce. And now is your time to fucking act. And maybe act by trying to help me get the fucking help that I need, instead of putting out tech fires all day. That's it. That's all I fucking do. I can't get to my real work. Can't get to any of my real fucking work. I gotta turn fucking interviews down. I can't make slides that I need to make because I'm sitting wrestling with a fucking loser fucking laser printer. And I got nobody over here who at least has the fucking competency of being able to troubleshoot something like I can. Although it'll take me a few hours, I'll eventually find a workaround and get it working. Problem is, that takes me all off of what I need to be doing during the course of any given day. That's the problem. If you don't have the bandwidth, buy the fucking bandwidth. If you don't have the fucking money to get the computer, work and save the fucking money and buy the fucking computer. How about that? How about you force it to happen? You don't sit back and go, well, I don't have that. I am not getting on the people who have actually expressed interest in trying to do that. I'm talking about, this is what I hear from hundreds of people. Oh, I'd like to help you. Don't write to me and say you'd like to help, but you can't. You are hurting the effort by even wasting space in the inbox. Don't waste space in my inbox unless you could actually do this. Do you understand? Don't write to me and go, well, I don't have the resources to do this, but I want to just say I wish I could. That doesn't help, loser. That doesn't help. What that does is you make me have to take longer to go through the fucking inbox to find the fucking people that are ready to start. Don't write to me unless you're ready to start. Do you understand? I'm just saying, there's just people who are dumb, man. They're just fucking dumb. They just don't understand. They have no life skills. They don't know how to do anything. They have no fucking common sense. Why, if I told you, only click this email that I don't even want to have to put out there publicly, because most people interfacing with them, I have to interface with a fucking dunce. And I don't want to have to even communicate with the fucking public because they're losers. For stuff that requires me to interact with people. I don't want a bunch of fucking dross nonsense little fucking shit toddlers saying to me, I wish we could help, but blah, 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 blah. Don't you understand that all that does is add noise to my day? And yes, it needs to be said. People go, don't worry about those people. No, people need to learn this is not normal thought process. I'm asking specifically for only the people who are ready to contribute to this project to use the resources that I've allocated to this project, including the email. Don't write if you're not ready to start. Should I have to scream that into the camera? It just shows you we have a society of loser, dunce children with no common sense, no skill sets, nothing. Their parents fucked them up from Jump Street. And yeah, it's not your responsibility that you were fucked up, but it is your responsibility to fix your fucked upness. That's your responsibility, not somebody else's. 5 nodes go online by the end of the year, or we are in permanent hiatus starting January 2024. Join the Telegram group to listen in via, to call into the show, whatonearthishappening.com/call is the URL. That'll take you into our Telegram group if it's installed on your desktop or mobile device. Telegram's a great platform. That's why I'm using it for interviews and calls this season. I've dumped Discord. I use Discord for basically nothing anymore because they're a loser company that are dirty, rotten, cock-sucking Nazis. Discord, you're dirty, rotten, cock-sucking Nazis, every last one of you. And you're too dumb to even understand that you're Nazis and you Nazi fucking losers. That's how fucking dumb. You're dumb loser animals. That's what you are. The people at Discord are dumb, loser, Nazi animals. You're trash. Your parents raised a piece of fucking trash because they were trash. They were probably Nazi authoritarian trash, just like you're Nazi authoritarian trash, you fucking loser monkeys. That's what you are. You are loser, degenerate primates. The people at Discord. Every last one of you. All of you. Okay? You give human ancestry a bad name, if you even want to consider that is our ancestry. But monkeys in a zoo would fling their feces at you, the people at Discord. That's what you are. That's how low-life you are. You're scumbag, loser, low-lives that are censoring Nazi trash. And I just want to say that, and that's why I don't use that platform anymore. Fuck Discord. Fuck you, all the people that use Discord. Come and see me about it. We'll talk to it face to face. ARC 2.0 still available. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com/ARC. All the information you need to wake the fuck up. All the way. To wake the fuck up all the way. And most people aren't there yet. Thankfully, people are still requesting ARC drives from me almost daily because God fucking knows you guys need it. You guys need it. That's all I need to say about it. Gifts.whatonearthishappening. You could put in a donation to receive physical items like DVDs, flash drives, t-shirts, keychains, stickers, etc. And you can make technology donations there. If you want to make a straight donation, which 100% goes to the cause of What on Earth is Happening, One Great Work Network, whatonearthishappening.com/donate. Thank you to everyone who purchased the tech items from the Amazon wish list there as well. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. They were on there for only a couple of days and people immediately bought and sent them. I love that some people are contributing through resources like that. If you're not going to contribute through your own voice, contribute through your resources at least. And people procured the storage drive that we're going to need for the Mac Studio. We're going to step up from a 4 terabyte solid state drive that we're using in the existing Windows PC that we're currently using to an 8 terabyte solid state storage drive. Beautiful. So that gives us a lot of headroom as far as storage is concerned on our server. So thank you to the individual who helped us to procure that through our Amazon wish list. People really like donating that way, and if we have any other items that we do require, I'm not going to just throw items that we don't need up there, folks. When I put an item up there, we are in pretty immediate need of it, and I only use that tech list when there is really an item that we need to have to do the work that we do. I don't just throw things up there that I want. If there's something I just want, I buy it with my own money. I don't use What on Earth is Happening resources that way. So if I need something for the doing of the great work as part of these projects, then I throw it up there on the wish list. So it is used sparingly, but thankfully, when I have put tech up there, you guys have come to the call and you've donated. So thank you for that, especially to the people who, again, may not be doing something themselves as far as putting content out there into the world, but at least you're supporting content creators monetarily and through technological donations. I have no problem with that. If you're not going to be directly involved, find a way to get ancillarily involved. So, with that having been said, those are all the slides I have. I apologize to my guest for taking that long and ranting that long. Let's go over to my special guest of One Great Work Network, Kat Waters. And Kat, just give me 1 second to get you framed correctly in here. I apologize again. Give me 1 second, because the framing wasn't correct. I'm going to just switch back here until I get this framing correct on the laptop, and then I will be immediately with you. Okay, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my special guest, One Great Work Network content creator, Catherine Waters. Kat, welcome to What on Earth is Happening. Now, hold on one second. Let me see. I don't think your voice is coming through on the broadcast. Give me a second. Again, more tech problems here. It's so much to remember, and that's the problem. One moment. All the steps to set up the show are so much to remember, and I'm here, myself, and it's difficult. But just give me 1 second. Say something, please. Yeah, so it's coming through here, but we're not going out live. Hold on. I actually tested audio earlier, and it was working fine. Let me just play a video. No, that's not going to do it. Let me play a video. Hold on. Yeah. So that's coming through. I can't tell whether you're coming through, Kat. It doesn't look on my side like your voice is coming through. Say something again. No, it's not coming through. No, give me a minute. Say something again. Let me quit Telegram here and relaunch it. I'll be right back. All right, let's see if that worked. Go ahead. No, sorry. See, again, this is the problem where I don't even know whether we should put this episode out, whether we should just record separately and put it out as a podcast. Again, my frustration's at an all-time high, and it just looks bad. It just looks bad. I really cannot do this alone, is all it really comes down to, and I really don't care what that sounds like to people. You can interpret that any way you want, but what it really shows is other people's complete lack of care and action to actually learn how to do something and get involved and help and then show up. And that's the problem. So, again, I'm sitting wrestling with tech problems instead of interviewing a guest. Kat, you're going to have to just sit tight until I get the problem corrected. And if it gets corrected, we can do the interview. And if not, we'll have to just do this another day. And that's just how it works, And again, I'm in a rage over this. I'm in a rage because I think the people in this entire community are basically absolute losers. The people in the freedom community are absolute uncaring children losers. Their parents fucked them up, and they don't care enough to get actively involved. And that's all it comes down to. That's all it comes down to. Let me try this one more time. Let me look at settings in here and see. And again, let me just switch the live broadcast over to the logo while I troubleshoot on the laptop. And what this is, folks, is this is the community not stepping up, not being men, not being women. I can hear you through Telegram, but the problem is, unfortunately, it is not coming through on the stream. Your voice is not passing through to the actual What on Earth is Happening stream. So let me try a couple of other quick things. Hold on. All right, Kat, say something again. No, no good. Yeah, we're just going to have to abandon this, I think. I cannot get it working. I'm having nothing but technical problems. This has been a what I would have to say borderlines on some type of an attack. And I don't want to get in. I don't want to get that paranoid about it. But you have no idea over the last several weeks what I've been dealing with as far as tech problems are concerned. Is this technology all just falling apart because programmers are losers and can't code anything properly? Because their mental thinking is all fucked up and clouded and they don't have any common sense? Yeah, probably. It's a big part of it. But when I mean it is beyond, over the threshold of that, I really know what I'm doing and I cannot balance it and juggle it anymore. Certainly not by myself. There's literally not enough hours in the day. Hold on. I'm not hearing you correctly because, again, now my output through my headset is not working correctly. So give me a moment, Kat. I apologize, but it's like... Hold on one moment. I'm still not hearing you correctly. Say again. See, again, you're coming through my... I'm sorry, I have to stop you. You're coming through my speakers instead of coming through my headset. And the settings are not set that way. Again, you could do everything perfect in software anymore today, and the settings simply are not respected. That's the bottom line of the problem, is that almost all software is coded incorrectly. And unless you have a team of people that are willing to work on that and troubleshoot it, I can't sit here for 8 hours before I have to go on the air by myself with no help and troubleshoot all of this. Then my computer crashes, and then that sets back what I'm doing and resets the settings. I can't do this myself. I have to abandon this format, and I'm going to have to go to a pre-recorded podcast format. That's it. So what I'll probably do is keep this amount of the show that we did to show people what's going on, and then I'll do a whole other show with you another day. I can't do this today. I need time. I'm too internally wound up, and I'm going to develop health problems if I have not already. I haven't really told people that I actually kind of have. There's a couple of things that have already occurred that thankfully are very, very small, but they could easily build up into very big health problems. And that is largely because I'm taking the burden of care on my shoulders and trying to do too much myself while other losers out there just don't care. And that doesn't mean that I'll stop caring, but it does mean that I may have to back off my effort until I have the help that I need, like I had to before. And again, I want the help on my own terms. I'm not asking for somebody to give me remote help. I need ass-in-chair help in my studio here, so that when problems like this happen, I could sit back and focus on what I'm going to talk to my guest about, or what slides I need to make, and somebody else can contribute the time and expertise as far as resources are concerned to help me in studio. I shouldn't have to do it all. No one should. Content creators should be supported by people in an ancillary capacity volunteering their time and expertise. If you don't think so, fuck you and get over it. That's the truth of the fucking matter. So I'm going to sit here and attempt to fix this until time of the show runs out, which is an additional 45 minutes from now. So guess what? That's what the fucking show will be. And then I'll interview Kat another time if I can't get it up and running. That's it. We'll do a pre-record and we'll release it like that. But guess what? This is what people have to realize is really going on. I'm sitting here spinning my fucking wheels because I have no help, because this town is a fucking garbage, communist, fucking controlled, captured, loser center. And even the people who are freedom oriented, they are shit in diapers toddlers who never learned a fucking thing about how to publish or communicate through technology. That's the bottom line, is that we have children who will not buck the fuck up and learn what's needed to put out the work publicly. And that's why we're not changing enough people's minds. That's why we're going to lose. I'm going to try this again. Give me a minute. See, I probably have to quit my streaming software. And then that would necessitate starting the show again. So it's just not coming into the stream, and I don't think it's going to. Let me try this one more time. Hold on. Say something again, Kat. Say something really loud. Speak directly into the mic. No, it's still coming in all. Hold on a minute. So I still actually cannot get you through my headset. I can't hear you here, which is where I need to hear you. I can't have your voice coming out of my speakers and then going into my condenser microphone, and that's what's happening. If people had heard any of that, you're literally coming out of my laptop speakers, which is sitting directly here in front of me, and you're coming in a very, very low way through this mic, which is that's not acceptable. First of all, I need to hear you here. Secondly, I also need to hear you in the streaming software on this computer, and you're not coming through there. And I don't know whether this is a bug in Telegram. I don't know whether this is a bug in my streaming software. I don't know. I would need time to technically trace it. And again, I guess I'll just sit here and do that. And when I need you to try again, Kat, I'll ask you. But I'm gonna let this be. This will not be the podcast episode. I will probably take the first part of the podcast and I will attach it to our interview that we'll do separately another day this week, and then I'll release that as the podcast later in the week. However, for this stream, it is automated to go off after 2 hours. We're sitting at the 1 hour and 18-minute mark, so for the next 42 minutes. I'm not going to do anything but troubleshoot, and this is what I do all day. This is what I do all day long, because I've asked for help for doing this for over a decade, and not one fucking person who really has the skill set can be bothered to show up. A couple of people showed up, and like I said, either they don't really have the skill sets required, or they show up, they see how much they're going to be fucking doing, and they say, fuck this, I'm out. Because they're little fucking children losers who can't buck the fuck up as a man and get their hands dirty and do what needs to be fucking done. That's it. That's all it is. It's a little fucking baby running away. Because they can't be bothered to actually learn and master a fucking skill set that takes time to learn and master. They'll do that with any other number of things, but not with technology, because God for fucking bid, that's how the voice gets out to the public. How is the voice going to get out to the public? Ask yourself how the fucking lie gets out to the public. The lie gets out to the public through fucking technology. And you can't figure that the fuck out? That the lie gets out to the public through technology, and that's how the truth will have to get out to the public? No. People can't put that together because they don't have the fucking logic in their fucking brain. They don't have a high enough IQ. They don't have enough logic in their mind. They don't know the trivium, is what it ultimately boils down to. I'm going to completely reset up Loopback and see if that helps. I accidentally typed that into the chat. I did a search for Loopback and accidentally hit that. That's all right. All right, let's see. All right, Kat, say something. Nothing. One more time. Yeah, you're back to being perfect in my headset, but I still can't get you into the stream, which is bizarre. It's amazing that 1 week I could have the software set perfectly and it works, and then literally the next day I'll open it, nothing will have been changed in the settings, and it doesn't work. I'm going to reboot my laptop and I'll be back. So let's try rebooting. Which again, shouldn't have to be done. But again, this is the quality of where software is at these days. I keep harping on it. People don't understand because, again, they're just ignoramuses that never use anything. They don't use it. You know? So let's reboot. This is all I do is boot computers up and down. Don't actually get anything done. And again, this whole community is the problem. This whole community of so-called activists and freedom fighters, you ain't nothing of the kind. You're a bunch of fucking children who sit there doing nothing. Almost all of you. And then even the ones who do things, you don't know what the solution is, and you're off pursuing a solution that can never actually lead to freedom because you don't have your priorities and you don't have your fucking principles in order. You think that you're going to do 3D worldly things and that's going to lead to freedom, and it doesn't work that way. You have to convince other people to think differently than they're currently thinking. And if you're not actually involved in that work, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what the solution is. You're actually ignorant of what can help. And that's the problem. People are all playing to lose. Playing to lose means I'm going to get the next intentional community working for after the collapse. I'm going to get this new food growing system up for after the collapse. I'm going to get all these, I'm going to put together a militia that's going to like actually defend all of our food stores after the collapse. It's called playing to lose. You're not playing to win. Winning is there's not going to be a collapse because humanity is going to actually succeed in defeating the dark occultists. We're going to actually succeed in ending slavery. We're going to actually succeed in not making a collapse happen that seems inevitable. We're going to avoid the actual collapse, and we're going to actually change people's minds. They're going to think differently about morality, and they're going to create real freedom. That's playing to win. And what are the requirements for that? Is it stepping outside your door with a fucking bullhorn? Is it fucking writing things down on paper? Is it talking to your mom and dad? No. It's putting your voice out in a wide, free way on the internet where it is formalized and immortalized. Then you can reach people you never met who might be on the fence, and you push them all the way toward the truth. You influence them with the power of your voice. And again, I'm not giving up, folks. I'm going to still try to get this motherfucking thing working. If it kills me, I'm going to get it fucking working. And that's the problem. I have to do that myself. I'm the only one driven enough to do it. And no, I'm not harping. I'm not complaining. I'm saying exactly what's true about the willpower of this loser community. I'm talking about my own people. Shut the fucking show off. Fuck you. Fuck everybody you know. Fuck all the activists in the anarchist community. Fuck you all. You're almost all losers. Almost all of you are losers. Who don't know anything, who don't know how to do anything. You're just fucking dross. You're not warriors who are capable of changing the dynamic of the situation, and therefore you are useless. You're useless people. This is how the dark occultists think of you as well. And I'm not going to make no bones about it. It's a very similar mindset to how they think about you. That's why they want you dead. That's why they want your families dead. I don't want that. I want you free. I want the people you love to be free. But I'm also going to say you don't really deserve that freedom. Because if you're loser, know-nothing morons with not enough care to actually learn the requirements and the skill sets that are going to be needed to help, you don't deserve anything good. You deserve nothing but suffering. And that's a hard fucking thing to say to somebody, but it also happens to be a true statement. We want to believe that we can do no part of the requirements that are necessary to truly have freedom, to truly have prosperity, to truly have an awakening that doesn't lead to a collapse. And we want to believe we can do none of those requirements and we can still have the good results. Get the fuck out of here, child. It doesn't work like that. The universe doesn't work like that. That's all you need to fucking know. You're off in dream world, believing and imagining in a distorted fucking world of illusion that the universe works a different way than it does, loser. I have not been able to successfully bring my fucking guest on the show because of fucking technology and losers who can't program anything right. And I'm not supposed to be fucking angry about it? Begging people for help for 10 years? Everybody pat me on the fucking back saying, oh, you do such a good job. Go fuck yourself. I'm not interested in people thinking that I do a good job. I'm interested in fucking help. Scumbags. I don't give a fuck what I fucking sound like either. I'm going to get as angry as I want to get. No, you're right. I'm not controlling my fucking anger and rage. I shouldn't have to after begging for fucking help with people telling me, "Oh, you're the best. You helped me. You helped me wake up. You helped me change the fucking course of my life." What the fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing? The fuck out of here. Not interested in your praise. Go praise somebody else. I don't want your fucking praise. I don't want your tap on the fucking back. I need help. Scumbag. Yeah, and you still don't understand. People still don't understand. They still want to spout a bunch of bullshit because they're too dumb to understand. They're too lazy to fucking help. They don't want to sacrifice anything, and they want to think you can have the result. You can have the positive result. Nothing's in your future but fucking suffering. Because you believe you can have the positive result without taking any of the fucking action, and you can't. The creator of the universe will not allow that. That is not how the laws of the universe are set up to work. And you still don't understand that yet because you're too dumb. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that people don't understand those fucking laws and how they work. They haven't listened well enough. They haven't listened to the voice of creation by quieting their mind. I have, and I do know the truth of the matter. The only problem is that I'm such in a fucking rage because I'm practically alone there. And I'm trying to step up my fucking effort to the best of my ability, and I can't make the fucking tech work by myself. I need help. No matter how good I am, there's always going to be problems without a team. I need a fucking team. Doesn't matter. I'll say it until the day I die, and you losers won't do anything, because that's all you are, and that's what's going to happen. You're losers who were born to lose. That's what this whole fucking bullshit community, it's not a community, it's a bullshit collection of largely dumb individuals with some intelligent individuals scattered very sparingly in it, and it's largely loser, egotistical know-nothings who want to sit back and watch other people do all the work and contribute nothing to the effort because they don't care enough, because they're scumbags. They're fucking underachiever lowlives. And I'm the only one in this whole community that will tell people that. You're know-nothing, you don't care enough, and you're fucking lazy shit. That's it. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that. If you're not making an effort in a similar way to how people who are putting their voice out publicly have made their efforts. I don't care whether you put it out through poetry, whether you put it out through fucking writing, whether you put it out through fucking music or what, or art. If you're not creating something, putting your name on it, first learn the truth of the matter, then create something and put your name on it. And I'm still not giving up. I'm going to reinstall software. I'll fucking reboot this machine again if I have to. I'll go back to it and we'll try to get this working. So the whole problem is software is written like shit because we have shit software developers out there with burnt brains. They don't have balanced minds. They're largely all left brain, all up in their fucking head, egg-headed losers. And that's a big part of the problem. I talk about that dynamic a lot. I'm going to relaunch Telegram and let's see if this fixes it. Yeah, the weird thing is all my settings are perfect and have not been touched. Kat, say something. Let's see if it comes through. Kat, go ahead and say something. Let's see if it comes through.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
We have succeeded. See, this is what I mean by persistence. See, this, can I tell you something? No, I just want to say something. This is all I do. All day, every day, is fight to keep the information continuously getting put out there. That's all I do all day, every day. So, how about this, Kat? I'll tell you this. Let's do what we can until the end of the show. And then I will interview you for an additional hour, and we will add that as an addendum to this show. And I'm going to let this show be what it is. It's going to go out. It's going to go out. It's going to be what it is. I will edit the end of the show, and I will tack the other hour onto the show. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. So it'll be a 3-hour show. Okay? And I'll tack the other hour at the end of the podcast. And that's it. I'll just have to edit it in post-production and release it like that. Because I want people to see what I have to go through and the amount that I have to force everything. And people don't understand. You're wrong when you say it doesn't require force. Fuck you, you're wrong. And here's why. You know what they've bought? And I'll open it up talking to Kat like this. Let me make you full screen. Let me go to our in-window interface here because it should be working now. Hold on. All right, Kat Waters of One Great Work Network. Kat, let's hear your audio so we know that you're definitely in.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
Oh yay!
So, I want to open up with people don't understand that sacrifice and persistence and discomfort are going to be something you are going to have to allow to exist and fight through, and force is a part of that. Why are people so obsessed with the idea that nothing requires willpower and force? Force is not necessarily a negative thing. If we
The sociopaths know how to force. That's all
That's
they
right.
do is force.
And we're not talking about the initiation of violence. Again, force versus violence is a huge, important part to discern when it comes to natural law. Force is required. Violence should never be enacted. But to force something to work, to force something to happen, to force an eventuality into place, to even attempt to force influence upon somebody. When I say we need to be forceful with our words, I mean we need to keep saying the same fucking thing to people until they walk away from us. Until you actually shut my voice off or walk away from me, I'm gonna force my voice upon you. You have the choice not to fucking hear it, but you're gonna have to fucking walk away or shut it the fuck off. But what I say, I'm gonna force out there. And that's the whole problem, is people don't want to do that. They want to pussyfoot around. They believe this new age bullshit that somehow that's not acceptable or good to do. And as a result, what's happening in the world? We're going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into fucking slavery and bondage.
Well, that's where the fitness comes from. Like, that's where the guts and the courage comes in. I mean, like, that's, basically, natural law and what it's all about is pushing up against things, and people haven't done it in so long, and this is why I go on and on and on, literally for decades about fitness, physically, psychologically, and spiritually, because you literally have to push up against something, and because the lines have been so blurred also, so people get confused, they get disoriented, they don't know if they're pushing up against something too much or too little, but because the sociopaths that be, again, have been for decades and decades pushing way beyond where the people literally should have been drawing lines and pushing back up against them. So now the goalpost is so moved and people get so disoriented, they have no idea how much the goalpost needs to be pushed so much further back. And again, not just pushing up against the sociopaths, but pushing up against the sociopaths' conditioning that is within the majority of people.
I mean, exactly. They have the willpower to continue to enact what they say that they want and how they feel and what they want to see occur in the world. I've described it to people when I was involved in the dark occult. I described it to people like this. Imagine 100 or more people in the same room that not only have the intelligence, the IQ, the willpower, the skill sets that I have, and they have the dedication and the persistence and the drive that I have, to the point where I would look around the room and say, in this community, I'm very average. Now, amplify that by hundreds of thousands of people, because that's at least how many dark occultists are in the world. There's at least probably a couple 100,000 of them, or some people think there's many more. Picture even 100,000 people with my intellectual acumen, understandings from a systems level perspective, my skill sets, and my willpower, all working to the same task, working to accomplish the exact same agenda. That's who we're up against. We are up against people with that kind of willpower that is set completely against us. And most people are still sitting on their hands, and they don't understand that this is who we are up against. I'd like you to speak to that dynamic. And like when you were involved in content creation, when you first got involved, it wasn't a comfortable thing for you. You didn't like having to do it. I don't even need to ask you that to frame it as a question. Nobody wants to do this. Like, this isn't something we go, oh boy, I can't wait to get out there and tell people about all the evil in the world and how they are going to have to fight it.
Could I just want to say one thing again, is that most people do not fully occupy themselves. So, it's not even so much about the dark cultist. It's about just fully occupying yourself and fully being present inside of yourself, because the system has so occupied people inside of themselves. So what they really need to do is just, be healthy. I mean, it's literally that simple. I mean, it's just a matter of being healthy and fit, physically, psychologically, and spiritually, and living and functioning to the point, you're just living to your healthy potential. Right. And if most people did that, it would naturally push and would have kept the sociopaths at bay all these decades. But the people have been so conditioned to live so shrunken down to literally allow that people are under an occupation. They're occupied
internally. Yes.
Exactly. Yep. They don't occupy themselves. They don't. I mean, this is why I've been doing fitness and literally talking about this really, uncomfortable stuff. But to me, I like fitness, and I think being uncomfortable is like good, because when I don't understand it. I got to tell you, like it's so satisfying to be yourself, to stand up, to score a goal and to get something right, rather than surrender that for like a paycheck or, to follow orders or something like that. Like, to me, there's nothing more satisfying than, being fitter, and so, again, like if more people were just fully present inside of themselves and knew, built up, exercised who they authentically are, right, and know the difference between where they end and, the programming inside of them begins, then, I mean, there just isn't, there's nothing that being closer to health, fitness, and nature can't solve.
And I think that's the very definition of it. That's where it starts. See, I think this is such an important point that it really bears fleshing out even more, because this is what I've been saying a lot, is that real health / balance / true understanding of where we really are at, which will then immediately tell us what our work is really to do. We will not be confused about anything. We will not hesitate. We will have drive and determination. It starts with full presence, with full present moment awareness. Yes.
I've said this to you before, and, I got to tell you, like, I'm a little bit glad in a way, COVID, these jab injuries. I mean, I'm sorry for people that get injured by all of this stuff, but it really has been making my point, about health and fitness, in that, being disabled, like, people don't even realize how disabled they have been made to be a long, long time ago. And if you're walking around the earth, being a disabled person and not even knowing that you're disabled and thinking that it's normal,
Yep.
then we can't even begin
That's right.
to move towards any, and like, I mean, it's like, it's so simple. Like, it was so obvious to me as a young person. And I mean, I got to tell you, and people made a really, really, really good effort in, doing a number on, I mean, my health, everybody's health. I think maybe what happened to other people, like maybe they get this stuff a little bit more covert and they're ingesting it and in their nervous systems and they're not really paying attention. But in my circumstances, starting in, the early, towards the later part of the 70s, it was not subtle. And, my body had a violent reaction to, like just basically having your health rewired.
Right.
I mean, it was just obvious, like what was going on and how our health, the mind-body connection, and how we're meant to function in this world, being smart, being a dissenter. And it was everybody around me. It was the so-called family system, so-called neighbors and relatives. I'm just going to, put everybody in there who they're all part of it. They were the ones wrecking your health. Their own health is wrecked. And it's really, really tragic for people to accept being on this earth and living so far away from the magnificent, fully, occupied person, them occupying themselves that they're supposed to be. And it's just literally that simple. It's just like a major spiritual and mental health crisis. And it's really sad.
I like what you were saying, that if people believe that they're okay and they're not really doing anything to contribute, they think that they can just absorb stuff, kind of know what's going on in sort of an almost nebulous way, and they can't really explain anything to anybody because they've never actually tried to do that. They've never really tried to reach anybody. They've never formalized any of their thoughts and then put them out there to others. And most of all, people, as you said, I really believe true health and fitness cannot begin without 100% full mental presence. And this is what people will say. They don't even understand what to be fully present means. They don't even understand what present moment awareness means. And this is one of the actual cruxes of my work, is to explain to people, you need to have laser-like focus. You can't be pulled off of a task. You can't be focusing on 6 things at a time. Like when I'm trying to fix the technical problem, I am the fixing of the technical problem. There is nothing else in the universe that is the only thing that I am. And they don't understand that. They think, that's some strange identity crisis or something. No. It means that with the totality of my being and my soul, now my attention is focused to a single point. And I will continue to focus in on that until the task is accomplished. This is who we are up against, people who know how to do that in the instantaneous moment that they are in. And they could put the entirety of their drive, their effort, their willpower, the very essence of their being itself into the accomplishment of their goal and their agenda and their task at hand. And we cannot do that. Our people, our team, whatever you want to call it, our community of so-called freedom-oriented individuals have not learned that skill set. They're scattered beings, and they're not scattered meaning like your left hand is over on street number A, your right foot is on street B, your head's down on the avenue or the parkway. No, that's not what I mean. You're scattered inside. There is no internal integrity, and that's where all health begins.
It's also because, right, so many people, like you were talking about it before when you were talking about force and how people think force is bad. So, like that, it's healthy. Like, we need to know what's healthy. We need to know what's fit, and what separates that from, like a pathology. And people have been so conditioned to believe that their dissent, that their strength, their power, their smarts is bad. They've cut it off.
Or that they don't have it at all. Or that they don't have those things at all. Yeah.
And then the sociopaths that they get to take that energy and use it against us because, people are so convinced that like these healthy, vital parts of themselves is bad. I mean, I've like been saying this stuff for decades.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I, just woke up like so early because, I knew I was born a healthy person. there was nothing wrong with me, but because everything that I was saying and the healthy adverse responses that my body was having, that was reflecting back to the people in power and other people around, that they were the ones that were deviant and misaligned, and they were the ones that needed, to step up to the plate and do better. So, they make you, the healthy one, something wrong with you. Like they try to make
That's right.
you ill and believe that your health is ill,
right.
is wrong.
Folks, people like us, the problem is not our anger. If you think the problem is my anger, you are a fucking dolt.
Right.
A dolt. I don't know what word I could use to even insult someone more. You're a mental midget dolt. If anybody believes my anger is a problem, my anger is purely justified. Kat's anger and sometimes frustration is purely justified. We have been saying these things, and the society will not really, truly listen and improve itself. We think we're going to remain stumbling little fucking know-nothing children, and we're going to win our freedom. The effort is garbage. The effort that has been made is such garbage compared to where it has to go. And then we have people telling us we're not correct about what we're telling you. We have it analyzed to the point where we know it inside out, backwards, fucking forwards, and exactly we could spell every fucking character, dot every I, cross every fucking T. We know the totality of it. And we've been trying to fucking give you that voice of wisdom for decades, and you're too fucking hard-headed, and you're too fucking lazy, and you're too fucking cowardly. What can we do to help these people fucking get out of their lazy, their ineptitude, their cowardiceness, their know-nothing fucking attitude?
People need to exercise their anger more. I equate it to maybe driving like a really hot car. It's like, the more you feel your anger and allow yourself to just like experience it, the more you'll be able to master it. I feel like so many people, again, for a really long time have been conditioned. Of course, this is not everybody, but it's a lot of people. To suppress their anger, to not exercise it. And they're so afraid that if they feel it, it's going to like run them over or something, or like, they'll, crash with it or something something like that. And your anger is your power. I mean, your anger is alerting you that you're being trespassed. And if people believe like, anger is so bad, then exactly, it's like, they're literally fighting, their body's healthy, input, healthy feedback. And, this is why, I've always believed that psychological health was so much more important to understand, even more than physical. I mean,
Sure.
Physical health's been, completely wrecked. But at least physical health, if somebody had cancer or they were in a wheelchair or had a heart attack or something like that, I mean, it got acknowledged. I mean, it wasn't like something that people were being denial about. But if, I always saw psychological health, emotional health, no different than our physical health. And, when you're having a legitimate emotional feeling, it's your body doing the same thing that your body is going to do, if you had a physical disease or a physical injury. It's going to have certain normal responses. But if the people around you are so deficient that they cannot, like, the problem is we live in a debt society. Everything is debt. It's all debt perpetuation. And so there's so many people who are so emotionally deficient and cannot afford another person, to be feeling and expressing their legitimate expressions. So they get sent into like this bankruptcy, this is how everything gets started. Again, in the family system,
Right.
like healthy children having, I'm just going kind of back to where the discrepancy kind of begins, in the family system, when children respond with, completely, normal expressions. And when the so-called, adult parent is deficient, or an adult child, and they go into, bankruptcy when their child is having, expressions that a parent emotionally should be able to afford. Like, they shouldn't be getting sent into, psychotic bankruptcy, when their child is healthy, and yet they do. And then, the child gets put into a deficiency, and then, they have kids, and it's just, and then it's just like everybody sucking the energy from other people, rather than healthy people who can afford it, giving other people an allowance to, to have like these healthy expressions. And so you have like so many people just walk around, psychologically, like, constricted and holding everything in, and you're not allowed to just feel what you feel.
Kat, we're running out of time for this episode. We're going to do another hour. Tell people where they can find your work.
Oh, it's on your onegreatworknetwork.com under creators. And I stink at asking for money, but I have to really cut that out and really ask for support, because
visit Kat's page, everyone, at onegreatworknetwork.com, and please donate to her. She deserves it. And we're going to come back and do another hour, since we took so long to get set up. So stand by. We'll be right back. All right, it looks like we are going to continue to stream, and we're back. So we will be continuing to stream on some platforms, even though we did the outro of the show. I'll just edit this podcast in post-production and, release it as a 3-hour podcast, because I didn't want to cut your time short. So my special guest today is Kat Waters of onegreatworknetwork.com. We were saying before, you can visit Kat at onegreatworknetwork.com, click into content creators, and then click Kat Waters. And you could then see all of her content up there, and you can contribute to her through a donation as well. All the content creators deserve to have donations sent their way. Please support them. We have the network up to do just that. Content creators should be supported in their efforts, especially by people who are not creating any content themselves to try to educate humanity. If you are not an educator of humanity regarding morality and natural law and psychology and fitness in general, to get the body and mind fit so that we can fight the people who are trying to completely destroy our freedom. And again, that starts with ultimately a healthy mindset. Yeah, okay, we can talk about physical fighting too, which may be required, but unless we understand objective morality, don't expect to win this. Expect it to get so bad that we're going to be in unbelievable suffering, far worse than we are now, far worse bodily, far worse as far as resources are concerned. War is beyond hell. And I've been trying to avert it, going to that by attempting to teach people true objective morality under natural law. If we learn that, it won't come to collapse. If we learn that, it won't come to war. If we don't learn that objective morality, if we don't learn natural law, war, collapse, and death are assured. They're not just possible potentials, they're definitely coming our way. So, Kat, what I want to continue to focus on is, and you were just getting into, our whole system is ultimately, it's been debt-based, and it's been rewarding the weak, rewarding the people who are unhealthy, rewarding the people who are truly imbalanced and only care about themselves, only care about their money, only care about being rewarded for their day's pittance work that they receive their pittance pay for. And they believe they're going to just continue to live like that, and somehow any goodness, any prosperity, any real freedom will ever truly manifest in their lives. It's delusion. There is no such thing as continuing to completely exist within and work within the existing structure that the absolute satanic psychopaths have set up for humanity. And somehow a different outcome is just magically going to float along and drop in our lap. Life does not work like that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. Life does not work like that. The laws of creation do not work like that. You have to get involved and put skin in the game to change the nature of the reality that we are living in, to change the condition of the reality that we are living in. The nature of the reality we are living in is it is sculptable, it is shapeable, it is changeable. We can create the experience that we want to have. We can create better levels of fitness. We can create better levels of health. We can create better levels of freedom and prosperity, etc. The point is, we need to do our own internal self-improvement and then help others to improve themselves if we're to do that. Go ahead, Kat.
People need to understand that they are here, to be their full, authentic self. Not to be just, like this cog in the wheel follower, just getting a job type thing. Like what I wanted to say, I have I have a couple of different things.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead. Flesh it all out. No problem.
So, you were saying before too about not having help. And so, also part of fitness too, not just being fit, here physically, mentally, and spiritually. One of the things I've been going on for too long about has been the family system and having a healthy, fit unit of, a circle at least of people that, do work together, that are there literally for the best interests of one another. And, I didn't know, it seems to be, quite a problem. In this country, the dysfunction in the family system, and how people, in my experience, like people see the family system as people to throw under the bus, rather than people to actually be on your side. And it was so strange to me, like so early on, this strange dynamic that was going on with the people around me. It was as if like they expected me to somehow on my own be able to kind of do things, or like have this value that they would then regard and then value me. And I was always like, well, wait a minute, you're supposed to be the people valuing me, instilling this value in me, by the way that you treat me. And then that's how I, get established and have this value in life. It's like people were so removed from how nature, farming, cultivating new human beings in the world is supposed to function. And I mean, so if the family system is that inverted, where I'm just going to say, like, this is just like one simple thing that has been like a constant in my life, and it's still a constant, was that again, like, I was so healthy, functioning the way that you're supposed to really early on. So I couldn't help it that my body as a teenager just really blasted the abuser back and just spoke truth to them.
Right.
And so what ended up happening was, everything got inverted. I was the one that got like shamed and criminalized, and, the frauds, I'm just, telling it like it is, the frauds in power were the ones who got excused and then enabled for decades and decades. To this day, it's like
Right.
still going on.
This society rewards people for being totally
Right.
unfit. This society rewards
Right.
people for being weaklings and losers and people who don't know anything. The resources are generally flowing to people like that instead of flowing to people who are strong and who do want real freedom and do want to truly morally educate people, especially the youth. And we don't have real families anymore. We have atomized people that we happen to know who we're biologically related to. And that's about it. I could not tell you that I have a true family. My family are the people who really genuinely fight for human freedom. That's my real family. But as far as the biological people that we grew up around that we're related to, I don't even know if we should use the word family to describe that, because it's not
exactly
that has no part of the definition of what family is or is supposed to be.
So, this is kind of leading me to make this point. I've done I've been kind of a bit obsessed with this issue, and maybe like the last couple of interviews that I did on, the case of the good nurse and the killer hospitals, and I only say these things because when I watch the documentary, it's called Capturing the Killer Nurse. It's just making the same exact point that I have been saying since the early 70s about the family system. And, for people to expect to go to a hospital and a caregiver, nurse or doctor or whatever, if they're inverted and they poison, maim, well, of course, this guy, Charles Cohen, killed up in about like 400 or so people, and it also came out, most important point of the documentary is how 9 hospitals plus a nursing home literally enabled this guy, because of course, like, they suspected what he was doing, and instead of stopping him, arresting him, anything like that, they would just kind of quietly send him on his way for him to just go get a job in another hospital and just continue doing the same thing. So, like, the real issue that was the hospitals are killer. And so it was, it's making my point that I've been trying to make for such a long time about abusive caregivers, and how this one nurse was basically a symptom of the larger system that is, it's not just hospitals, it's the entire system. It's all about money. And, so I just kind of sit back and I feel my load getting a little bit lighter, but I'm not going to stop really trying more and more to bring the focus on the family system, because I just feel like it is the most important thing to look at. It doesn't get the focus that it needs. It doesn't get taken as seriously as it should be. Child abuse. I mean, so you could have this, nurse that's maiming and harming people. You could have big pharma maiming and harming people, but in a family system with innocent children that are supposed to be protected and defended so fiercely, like, a parent should really be a fierce freaking warrior,
sure.
And like the complacency and the slacking of parenting is literally just utter. It's abysmal. The standard of quality
Yep.
of the people that are bringing lives into this world, and it is extraordinarily confrontational to say this stuff, but if any human being, especially a parent, has even like a shred of decency within them, they will be the first to admit, yes, like, I sucked, like, I failed my kids, like, I should have been doing like a way better job. I mean, like, for the longest time, we should have been moving in the direction of building health and fitness, physically, psychologically, and spiritually.
That's right.
And instead, the bar, right, like spouses being, whoever talks about like being a better spouse, working on being a better wife or husband or parent or anything like that. Most of the things that people work on, is money related. Like,
that's all they're obsessed with. They're obsessed with just
related.
acquiring enough physical resources to literally keep food in the house. That's about all people care about. And it's like, if you just throw some food on the table or in the refrigerator, then all responsibility is met. And that's not responsibility.
Right.
That is
Right.
not the definition of responsibility. And that's the problem, is that's what
Yeah.
we in modern culture believe somehow is the definition of responsibility within a family unit. And it is not, because ultimately you're not instilling principles in the child. You're not instilling morality in the child. You're not giving the child enough information from a factual point of view about what's really going on in the world. And then you think that that's going to somehow inform their spiritual makeup? You think that they're going to be psychologically equipped? You think they're going to go out and actually develop real skill sets to try to improve anything in our world? All they're going to do is grow up and become the same self-centered loser that their parents were, which is, all I give a shit about is me and my creature comfort. And as long as I have a job bringing in enough money to put food in my belly, fuck everybody else. Fuck their rights, even fuck my own rights. Fuck my own freedom. That's how they think, these people.
The monetary system, to me, it is like it is worse than the jab. I consider it and have considered it for decades. It's like it's more toxic and poisonous than the freaking, I just call it the jab, in how it has wrecked people allowed it to wreck their health. They've put it first above health and fitness. And I mean, for so long, and I was like early on kind of doing this sort of experiment, by myself. And, because everybody around me was always like, oh, a job, and you're never going to make any money doing that, and blah, blah, blah. And I was always like, well, like, nobody even raised me, excuse me, like, you're being extracted from, you're not being, invested in. And I mean, this endless push to just completely skip over your healthy childhood and then just rush you out to just get a job. And I was like, what in the freaking hell? Like, how am I supposed to do anything and be of any value to anybody in this society with this horrible, environment that now I need to basically spend, I mean, it's turned out to be a lot longer than I expected to be working on myself to recover from, so that I can, do something good for people in the world. So I was trying to talk about all of this pollution, essentially. So I call my podcast, on your One Great Work Network, I call it the family industrial complex, because the family system literally has been like this kind of scaled down corporation that all it does is, it's like Chevron, it's like BP, it's like DuPont. I mean, it just dumps its pollution on the next generation. Abuse, I essentially just consider it to be pollution that contaminates, the very people, the very, inner landscapes a parent should be defending to the death, and instead spewing its pollution and then saying, and when your body has a healthy adverse response to the freaking toxic shit being dumped in it, it's like, how dare you?
Right. Yeah, I mean, exactly.
So when
Like your immune system naturally is telling you what's toxic and poisonous. And then other people are going, how dare you have that response? You need to take more of this shit. You need to take in more of this toxicity because this is what's normal. No,
because people
wrong.
Have no freaking worth. They have no self-worth. They have no self-esteem. And to me, the family system, parents and other adults like aunts, uncles, or whatever, they do more damage to people than Big Pharma and DuPont and Chevron and any of these people put together.
Because they tell people that you have to stay within this toxic, poisonous, destructive, absolutely satanic system. And they don't encourage people to think differently, to get out of that, to explore what true morality is. And you know what else they do? Parents do this, relatives do this, teachers do this. They instill in young people's thinking false stories about who the young person is in their own mind, so that the person is thinking false stories in their own mind about who they are and what they're capable of achieving and what their characteristics are and what they're capable of doing in the world and how much they're capable of affecting change. They want us, more than anything else, they want to give us viruses in the form of words that we tell ourselves, stories that are false that we tell ourselves. These are internal mental viruses that get installed by family members, by friends, by teachers, by pastors, by relatives. And then the child is going to grow up telling themselves stories about who they believe themselves to be. I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable. I can't do this. I can't put my head to this and come through and actually do it and achieve and affect other people and change myself, etc. A million different false lies, false stories about who they are and what they're capable of. And then they just accept it. They swallow it. They believe it. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because they believe it. For the reason that they believe those stories, that is actually what they then become in their physical world manifested condition. The lie becomes the reality. And that's why we need good psychological fitness, especially in the form of how parents attempt to build up their children. That's what raising a child means. You're raising them up. You're building them up to be strong, fit individuals, psychologically, physically, and spiritually.
Exactly. We should be going like so deliberately according to, healthy child development and what a child needs, at various stages of their growth and development. I mean, again, like so, adhering to it like as, closely as we possibly can. And instead, I mean, the complete disregard. I mean, I swear to God, it's like, who needs enemies when you got like family and neighbors? Like I've been just like saying it for decades. Like the things that people have been saying to me, it's just like, people that are like supposed to have one another's back, be on one another's side, and instead is functioning completely the opposite. And if the family and the community function completely the opposite of how it's supposed to, it's like, how dare people expect, doctors or nurses or big pharma? Like, I mean, like people used to just shame the shit out of me, since I was young, trying to freaking talk about being, completely mistreated and abused and having your health desecrated, in your own house. And yet, what do I hear, today? It's like, some inverted caregiver nurse like killed people and who got, killed and who died suddenly from the jab. And I'm like, I've been trying to talk about, parents literally maiming the shit out of children for decades. And people like still think that they should be able to take for granted that, big pharma is looking out for them. Or
these parents are now
like
doubling, they're
insane.
doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on the toxic poison that they've allowed their children to take in, like saying that, they shouldn't be held responsible for that, or how could they have known, or etc. It's like what negligence parents have been. And it's not just quote biological parents. Okay, I'd like to say that we have all largely as a human species been negligent about just the future generations, period. Doesn't matter whether you're going to be biologically related to children that come after us. How many people can say that they fought tooth and nail and gave 100% of their effort to ensure a future for children that are going to come after us? And then people will say that isn't somehow their own responsibility. It's all of our shared responsibility. It's every single one of our shared responsibility to bring a world into manifestation that is better for the next generations that come after us. And what we're leaving them is a squalid ball of shit. in the form
It's
of this
disgusting.
planet and the condition that this planet is in. I mean, we might as well like hand them a bag of feces and say, here, this is what our legacy to you is. I mean, and that's terrible. That people should literally so be ashamed of themselves for what we are allowing to happen in our name, that we have to go through the period of shame. See, we're not in the apocalypse anymore. The apocalypse is over. That's why everybody's saying, when's new revelations coming? Hey, you didn't pay attention. They already came, and it's all out. The revelation, the apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, all the bursting forward onto the world of all the hidden information has occurred, past tense. We are in post-apocalypse right now. This time period that you are living through is post-apocalyptic already. Post-apocalyptic does not mean the total collapse has occurred and everything is in a state of complete destruction. That's post-Armageddon. If you want to be technical about all your terms of chiliasm, of end times, of, millenniarism, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's referred to. Eschatology, it's been called many different names. The study and analysis of the, quote, end times, of the breakdown of civilizations and the destruction and cycles of destruction and rebirth of civilizations. You can call it a million different names, and it's been called a million different names. The bottom line is, at least in biblical prophecy, the revelation or apocalypse, the great revealing, has occurred. You're not going to get anything new. We are not discussing anything new. This is stuff that everybody should already know and have been discussing and have been communicating to other people. It is not new information. I want to reiterate, all the people out there saying, you're not saying nothing new. No shit, dumbass. This isn't anything new. This is stuff that's been going on since the dawn of human civilization. Everything on this podcast that is discussed is nothing new. It was just new to you when you were a dumbass and you first heard it. Now you're sitting back, not doing any action, not taking any behavior, and you're going, where's the new stuff coming? There is no new stuff coming. If you don't know what the fuck is going on by now and you're not taking action, you're negligent. You're negligent and part of the problem.
So to mention fitness again, I mean, you know how many bicep curls you have to do in order to get like in pretty good shape? And then when you get in shape, you still need to do repetitions in order to maintain it.
That's right.
So, exactly. So much for like, it really is very, very difficult going up against the programming that so many people kind of have and don't really realize that they have. Sorry, I'm going to kind of just skip a little bit. I wanted to kind of just mention, because just 2 days ago, I was able to go, it was called the Belmarsh Tribunal. It's basically about, Julian Assange and how, telling the truth has been criminalized.
Yeah.
And this guy has basically been getting persecuted for telling the truth.
Right.
And I just kind of wanted to mention something that one of the speakers, Jeffrey Sterling, who did some jail time, he worked at the CIA, and he said, like people at the CIA, they're not going to look at themselves. They're not going to police themselves. I just can't, again, get over like how much the topics of health and nature have been so mangled. I just,
and these are paramount to the solution. If we don't have these in place, we cannot enact the solution. They're foundational to the solution.
our whole system is ragingly dysfunctional. It is ragingly sick. It has been mentally ill for decades and decades and decades. And for the people to be constantly staying down here and the sociopaths to be constantly occupying the upper echelons, and for people to be walking around like that's normal, and then for the young, clean people being born that are supposed to grow and clear out that upper occupation that the psychos have been in for so long, that never gets cleared out, never gets replaced, never gets, freshened up. And so the darkness that these people are, and at the expense of the healthy, fresh people that are supposed to be getting cultivated, and then you can look, you don't even have to look at, that dynamic on this macro level. When people go into like law enforcement, when I joined emergency medical services for FDNY in the 90s, it was like the same thing. Every fresh newbie that comes in, instead of freshening the place up, just ends up catching
becoming part of the disease. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's the system itself that they believe they can enter, and they think they're going to change a completely rotten, corrupt, satanic system from the inside. I keep explaining to people, and I put this forward in my presentation at Anarchapulco, which I hope everyone will check out when it comes out, that the solution does not lie in creating any new dynamic in the world. Nothing new needs to be created except telling people what the problem is through things that we create. But I don't mean a new system needs to be created. Content, yes. Content in the form of the truth being communicated and published. That is something that new that needs to be created. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we don't need a new government. We don't need a new monetary system. We don't need any new technology that we don't already actually possess. To have different systems of organization and ways of doing things are niceties. They are things that we could cultivate and develop. But none of that is needed to end slavery of human beings. None of that is needed to end the existing slavery system. What is needed is to cease and desist behaviors. I tell people, say, what's the solution? You don't talk about solutions. I've been explaining what the solution is since the first day I came on the air. It is not about making any new system on the earth. It is about getting people to discontinue the conducting of behaviors that they are currently conducting. Let me say this again, and I want to get your take on it, but folks should listen very attentively. There is no new thing or system that needs to be created. It is the solution does not lie in anything that is active. The solution lies in ceasing and desisting in actions that we are currently doing that we do not have the right to do as individuals or as whole groups of people. Kat, your take on that. Why can't people understand that the solution lies in stopping behaviors? They believe it's about creating a new system. A new system will never work in a state of immorality. A new system will never work in a state of complete mental and spiritual dysfunction, which is what Kat's talking about. You got to build up your fitness level first in every aspect of the being. Then something that you create can work. But you can't put the cart before the horse, and you can't try to create the new system while you have all of this psychic and spiritual dysfunction. You can't succeed. The universe, by law, is not going to allow you to be successful and prosperous while you're still contained within a completely immoral, satanic system. Why would you believe that to be so? The free energy movement thinks we just need all these new free energy devices. Well, we're all going to be sitting on the earth with free energy devices, still enslaved by Satanists. And suddenly that's going to solve the problem of everything on Earth? Well, you'll have some ability to have some free energy or renewable energy, but you're still going to be a slave. All the people who, it's about permaculture, and it's about going out into the wilderness and growing our own food so we don't have to be dependent on the food, the big agri-system. Well, you could do that, and you're still going to be enslaved. You're still going to be a fucking slave. Just growing your own food is not going to make you not a slave anymore. The only thing that's not going to make you a slave is when we smash into people by whatever means is required to do it. By whatever amount of force is required to do it. The understanding of moral law. The understanding of objective morality under natural law, and ceasing and desisting the behaviors that are not in alignment with moral behavior. That's it. And I'm talking about real moral behavior. Not conducting murder, assault, rape, theft, trespass, coercion, and deception. The true 7 deadly sins, not the bullshit morality of bullshit religion. Bullshit religion is another thing that has fucked people's minds up like a fucking mental virus and made people have a completely erroneous notion of what real morality is. And that's another big part of the problem. Kat, your take on all of that?
Well, just listening to you, what you kind of reminded me of that really used to bother me a lot, in like the last decade or so, more than a decade, with rallying, protesting, Occupy Wall Street and things like that. And they would always like use these terms, nonviolent protest, like the people finally standing up for what's right. Finally exercising what they should have been exercising decades ago. And they always had to put the label, nonviolent, doing what's right. Why would you have to, put that term and stress being nonviolent when, again, it's like, because people have been so, slacking in doing it for so long, sure, like it's possible for this tendency for now the people to just like, which, not for nothing, but who cares? If the people are unskilled in the fact that they're finally rising up, they're rising up and they should have the room to be unskilled because the sociopaths have been, so out of balance for so goddamn long. So like it really used to annoy the crap out of me because again, it's like pathologizing and criminalizing, people, taking their first toddler steps in, finally standing up for themselves, which really they should be allowed to be unskilled, in that process. And so like, that's kind of, like what I was hearing you say and in this need to I think we have a really short window if the window hasn't closed by now, because the amount of leverage, the amount of weaponry that the sociopaths have is just like ridiculous. They could take us out, and I hope I'm answering your question.
I mean, could you imagine the amount of people that still don't understand that the order followers are the bad guys? That people can still try to instill in their children that the police and the military are the good guys that are trying to help humanity?
Yeah.
Could you imagine any human being could be that fucking stupid at this point?
Not by now. Not by now.
Don't you think that that's just evil? That like they're willfully evil. This is the whole thing. The whole idea of ignorance in ancient cultures. The Egyptians said willful ignorance is the epitome of evil. Now today, if you just say, oh, somebody's ignorant, they're not thought of as a bad, evil person. They're not even thought of as a bad human being, let alone purely evil. The ancient Comitian culture in Egypt said, what we now call Egypt, one of their main teachings in the spirituality of Chem was, if you are willfully ignorant, you are the epitome and essence of what it means to be evil. Think about how far off we are from that teaching in the world today. Or do parents teach their children that if you're willfully an ignorant human being, especially when it comes to morality, if you're willfully ignorant of what real morality is, do parents teach children that that's what actually defines you, the core of your being, as evil? Do you ever hear that from parents? Teaching their children that? Hardly ever. Hardly anybody in the anarchist community is telling people that. I'm one of the only people saying that. This is the core aspect of what it means to build up strength internally in an individual, which is what the core aspect of ultimately of the concept of fitness is all about. How many parents are actually doing that? How many people are actually putting those ideas out into the world just with their voice? A paltry few. A piss-ant amount that's not a good enough effort. I'd like to hear your thoughts when it comes to where are we societally as far as the karmic retribution that we're accumulating and taking in upon ourselves, and what you see happening in the next, let's say, 1 decade, if we have that long. What is your take about where things are going to head in our society? Speak to that for a few minutes, and then maybe we could take phone calls for the last few minutes remaining.
So I can't leave this interview with you, Mark. And again, I want to thank you for, letting me speak, because I literally have been criminalized since the 70s and, made to feel like your healthy dissent is like, again, a freaking disease. So I need to mention the issues of like child trafficking, interviews I've done numerous times with Max Lowen, Rachel Vaughn, Jamie J, Heidi on satanic ritual abuse of children and adrenochrome. And this stuff, there's no question about it. It is real. And, I think about the child abuse that I, was trying to speak about, that I experienced and regular child abuse in the family system, only over the decades to come to learn of child trafficking and the torture of children, the murder of children, raping of children. I mean, if you want to talk about the bad karma being built from allowing, sacrificing, this is what I believe with it's like I know this with every cell of my being, that adult children are they're replacing real children. Like adult children are the new children, so you don't need real children anymore. Nobody needs to be raised and cultivated because the psychopaths they occupy, they own the whole world. And so,
and we're their perpetual children that they get to dictate to how life is going to be. That's the world that they want. Yeah.
And right, and then you have the adult children, doing the bidding of the Satanists against the real children, the healthy people that they should have been defending with a vengeance.
Not only are they letting that happen to the actual biological children, but they're then telling the actual psychic adults, the intellectual adults on the planet, you're not correct. We, as the infantile psychic children, as the intellectualized, totally infantilized children of the world, that we know better than the real adults in the room. That's why I'm saying I will not be told what I know. I will not be dictated to by some fucking loser child who's a biological adult, but you haven't grown up as a fucking real mental psychological and spiritual adult. And that's what we have. This is in the anarchist community. This is in the freedom community. We don't have real adults. We have stunted children in our presence that cannot act as real warriors because they are still stunted children psychologically and spiritually, because they've bought into all of the viruses that are mental viruses, all of the things that make them completely unfit psychologically and then lead to unfitness in a billion other ways. And they will not pull themselves up from the bootstraps because they don't have enough internal self-respect. They don't have enough internal self-love. They can't learn the basic premises of real spirituality and real objective morality and understand the importance of taking action in their own lives, not looking to an externalized figure. Even myself or yourself, we have to do our own individuated speaking out efforts. That is what the great work is. If you're not lending your voice to that grand voice of truth that is going to defend truth and freedom and take the world back from the psychopaths and the infantilized adult children that are out there, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. Everybody, please go to Kat's page on One Great Work Network. Please contribute to her. She's been one of the originals in this battle. Kat's been doing this back when I was still a Satanist. Just think about that. Think about that for a second. So if anybody is worthy of respect, it is this woman. Please check out our content on One Great Work Network and support her work through donations. What do you say we go over to some phones in the last? We have about 13 minutes remaining. Let's take a few calls. All right, let's hear from Gilbert. Gilbert, you are live on What on Earth is Happening with my special guest today, Kat Waters of One Great Work Network. Welcome.
Hello,
Gilbert.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Yep, can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, Mark. Hi, Kat.
How are you?
I just want to say a couple of things. I think you're right, Kat, about healing our bodies first and foremost. If they're lazy, lethargic, sitting on the couch, they're not going to be able to even think properly. I think people should at least do cardio first. And I mean, weightlifting, obviously, if you're a man, I mean, that's going to help you physically, even boxing,
or a woman.
things like MMA. Yeah, I mean, same thing, yeah. And also I was going to say, Mark, I want to congratulate you on being on Band.video.
Thank you.
I think that's a really big platform. And it's really going to, I think, make a big difference.
We'll see. I'm optimistic about it. We'll see. I don't know how much the audience there is going to appreciate my work and what I have to say. I think some will. But we're dealing with a very, very religiosified, if that's even a word, a culture that is deeply entrenched in religiosity. And that's, it's going to be a tough uphill battle, because I'm not going to back down from my position regarding religion and religious hypocrisy, but I want to try to help them to understand that there are core similarities in the understanding of natural law and any religion. All religions have this at their core. The problem is we got to break through the dogma of what's not true in religious programming to get to the core of what is true. And that's very difficult, and that's why religions were set up. They don't understand. People like this, unfortunately, are still too unread. They are not knowledgeable enough. They don't have the grammar. They haven't aggregated the grammar, unfortunately, to understand that all of the religious systems, not some of them, all of them, no matter what they are called, were set up by Satanists to block people's understanding of the truth in some form or fashion. And unless you can cut through the dogma of the religious tradition, you can never get to the core essence of the truth that the original intent of the religion was attempting to convey when it was first made. They were all co-opted and directed in a certain direction by the dark occult to act as something that actually restrains us from moving forward and penetrating that dogma and actually getting to the true core truth of the matter, which is natural law and objective morality. And until religionists begin to see it differently and stop clinging on to all of the dogma that is holding us back from the truth, that we will not make progress as a species. It will not occur. Sorry, all of your religions are co-opted and controlled by the dark occult. No one's religion is insulated from it. Yes, yours. Yes, yours. Yes, yours. Yes, his. Yes, hers. Yes, theirs. Yep, all of them. I'm not incorrect regarding that. The problem is most hard-headed motherfuckers don't want to hear it and are never going to hear it and are never going to listen. They're going to die in ignorance, unfortunately. Almost all of them. But here's the thing. I will keep saying it even if nobody is listening because that's the correct thing to do. So, Kat, you can chime in on that if you wish. If not, we'll move on to another call.
I was just going to say, and I hope this is answering his question. So, like, Mark, you talk about natural law. It's what I've always spoken about all my life. And so what we were saying before about the healthy adverse responses, from the body, from, like a child's body and the feedback that you get, that's natural law. Like, that's what adults should be responding to. So, like when we do like fitness or something like that, or sports, and the idea is to, score a goal. Exactly. I mean, when you make the goal, you made the goal, and when you miss the goal, you missed it. So people need to take that same mindset and apply it, to child rearing. I mean, when your kid is giving you, certain feedback, you need to use that to adjust yourself, rather than just kind of like running a person over. Like, I think, that can also, be called natural law. But again, if the parent isn't healthy enough, they're going to get like disoriented and not not really be healthy enough to do that.
And,
I hope that made sense.
That cycle will perpetuate itself if it's not improved. Parents who are going to do any child rearing have to realize you got to become conscious yourself. So many people are just spitting out, their children, and they're spitting out other children. Before people even consider becoming a parent, become awake first. Get awake, get healthy mentally, understand the dynamic that's really going on, then have a child and really truly raise them in a conscious fashion. Let's hear from, we're running out of time. We have about 6 minutes left. Let's hear from Jennifer. Jennifer, you're live on What on Earth is Happening with our special guest, Kat Waters.
Jennifer?
You have to unmute your mic. From your end, you're unmuted from our end. All right, we'll move on. Folks, if you don't unmute your mic, I can't hear you. So I unmute it from the server end, then you must immediately unmute from your end. Be ready to do that. All right, let's try Jennifer again. Jennifer, are you there?
Hello.
There we go.
Hey, Jennifer. Can you hear us? Oh.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
If people are this naive and people don't want to wake up, what are we supposed to do? Just stay in this stagnant area forever?
The only thing that can be done is that people have to teach them. It is all human beings who are even somewhat aware to teach other people who are still in a state of ignorance. So I'll answer this and then I'll hand it over to Kat. If we are not involved in the job of education of the masses of people, does our freedom not suffer? Sorry, you're coming in really low. Just speak directly into your mic, please.
She just muted.
Okay.
I think she was cutting.
You're coming in real low on your mic. You have to get closer to it if you want me to hear your feedback. But to answer your question, then I'll hand it to Kat. If we're not directly involved in education, and we do understand that other people's ignorance directly affects our own freedom and the freedom of everybody else around us, how can any of us actually say we're contributing to the solution? Kat, your take on that.
I was going to give a pretty simple answer and just say people are going to be forced whether they like it or not. Either by the people around them or, the psychos, like they're going to just learn the hard way.
Suffering is going to be the teacher, which it does not have to be that way. Anybody that believes that that's how karma works and it must be that way and it must be through suffering that human beings learn, you are delusional and you are incorrect. It can be learned the easy way if we cease and desist the behaviors that are contributing to the continuation of the karmic cycle. If you understand natural law and you truly understand free will and you truly understand the programmability of the being as being the innate condition of humanity, the innate nature of humanity, then you understand that programmability is mutable, it's changeable. We can change it through an act of our will, and we do not have to go through the hard suffering that is going to be a post-Armageddon experience. It does not have to occur that way, but we have to force through the force of our words, not violence, but through the force power of our words, to use the force, as it's said in the Star Wars universe. The force is going to come out through the voice, through the words. Yes, go ahead, Kat.
Our inner currency. I just want to stress the inner currency. It's like, it's made me really sad, again, over the decades, seeing people value man-made debt notes over what has real value, themselves. That's
right.
Their health, their authenticity. Like if people are not raised and instilled, by healthy people to have self-worth, to value themselves and who they authentically are, like you're just going to get taken. Like no matter how much money you have, like you're going to get ripped off. Like to me, it's like the biggest rip off in this world is to be here and not be who you authentically are supposed to be.
Right. Kat, I think that's about all the time we're going to have for this edition of What on Earth is Happening. Thank you so much for being a guest here. Tell everybody where they can find your work one more time. Everybody go to Kat's page on the network and please support her work. It's great work and she deserves the support. Kat, go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, it's at onegreatworknetwork.com under creators, and all my links for Patreon, Substack, Odyssey, BitChute are all on there. And Facebook.
Kat, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I hope everybody understands what I do here on a daily basis to continue to persist. And Kat's been doing that for even longer than I have. So again, please support her at onegreatworknetwork.com on the Catherine Waters content creator page, and do contribute to her efforts through donations. And I hope people appreciate the persistence shown here. And Kat, I again apologize for the technical difficulties, but I'm glad you were willing to stay for another hour and we can get your really, really great contribution in here today. So thank you very much. Everybody, that's all for What on Earth is Happening. We'll see you here next week. Thanks again.
Thanks for all you do, Mark.